And one of the signs of the Day of Judgment Prophet ﷺ mentioned is the neglection of the Salah. And we see this regular. On a Friday, Jummah time, we see that it is the roads are really busy around the Muslim areas because people are driving to Salaah. And you see the masjids, they are packed. And all the other time throughout the week, the masjids are empty, and we are lucky if we get 1 or 2 rows for every Salah. And how many people in our own families do we see that they have never prayed, or they pray once in a while, or they pray a Jummah, or they pray Eid, or they pray in just Ramadan and they are Ramadan Muslims, and the rest of the time they hardly ever pray? And and Prophet ﷺ says in a hadith that the difference between us and them is the Salah. This means the difference between us, the Muslims, and them, the Mushrikun, is the Salah. And Umar radiallahu anhu said that hold on to his Salah, because if you lose your Salah, you lose everything. And during the time after the death of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when people used to abandon the Salah, the Sahaba used to give them 3 days to come back to Salah and pray in congregation. If they never come back on the 4th day, what used to happen to them? They used to execute them. So the Sahaba used to execute them for not praying for 4 days. Look how serious they took this, the Salah. And how many people in our own families we see, they haven't prayed more than 4 days, they haven't prayed for 4 months. Imagine the Sahaba, imagine someone like Umar radiallahu anhu who was around now, their heads would be chopped off. Half the people of this Ummah's head would be chopped off. We have developed the wrong idea of success by imitating the kuffar in materialism, etc. We think wealth and secular education is success. So we see that our children, we encourage them to study secular education so they can become doctors, engineers. We encourage them to open businesses, spend time on opening businesses. We encourage them to chase the wealth of the dunya, etc., etc. But we never encourage them in deen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah Hajj, verse 77, Ya ayyallazina amanu ka'u wa asjudu wa abudu rabbakum wa afalul khair la'allakum tuflihun. The translation, O you who believe. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directing this at the Muslims. O you who believe, bow down and prostrate yourselves and worship your Lord and do good that you may be successful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the believers, bow down is ruku, and prostrate yourself, sujood, and worship your Lord. And our only reason for existence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah 51 verse 56, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create jinn and humankind except to worship me alone. I did not create jinn and humankind except to worship me alone. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we was created to worship Allah alone, and our reward for this, inshallah, is Jannah. And if we go against this, the punishment is hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh you who believe, bow down and prostrate yourself and worship your Lord and do good that you may be successful. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is success. Nowhere in the Quran does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says chase secular education, chase the dunya, chase the wealth of this dunya, and this is success. Everywhere in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says worship your Lord and this equals success. So to the believer, success is worshipping your Lord. So if you can get yourself to pray to your Lord 5 times a day, bow down and sujood to your Lord multiple times a day, this in the eyes of Allah is success. And this is what is going to benefit you on Judgment Day. Now if you didn't do this and you had 10 PhDs, 15 doctorates, £1 billion into a bank, you are not successful, because on Judgment Day you will be thrown into the hellfire. Einstein had things like this. George Bush, David Cameron, they have all this. The Queen, Bill Gates, multi-billionaire. All these people, if they do not take the Shahada before they die, they will end up in the hellfire. But there's some poor person who lives in a village in Africa, who's worshipped his Lord all his life, and nobody's heard of him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to grant him Jannah. So who's successful? The successful one is this poor person who's nobody's heard of.